All right, everybody, good evening to all of you. I'm forecaster Nick Dunn here alongside Brant Warren. It is just before 5:30 p.m. here on Thursday, February 3rd, and we are continuing to track rain changing to ice, and for some folks, ice changing to snow. Road conditions are deteriorating very quickly across central Ohio now that we have seen the transition to snow. For some of us, there's still some ice out there falling as well in some locations. You're taking a live look from the Wilmington NexRad. This has had a pretty good handle on things this afternoon. And Brant, I see a pretty significant report in downtown Columbus right now, and that report is contributing to some very bad road conditions right now as part of the county is in snow, part of the county is in snow-sleet mix right now.
Yeah, and if you saw the live stream earlier, we showed you a picture from, I believe it was 270 on the east side of a lot of sleet on the roadways, and unfortunately they're continuing to deteriorate even more from there. A National Weather Service employee reported 2 inches of sleet just north of downtown Columbus near Upper Arlington. So this is the east of Upper Arlington. So that is directly from a National Weather Service employee of 2 inches of sleet. And Nick, that is significant.
Yeah, that is a very substantial amount of sleet that's falling. You can kind of see, we'll take you right into the Columbus metropolitan area to kind of start things off this evening. You can see some of us have changed over to snow. I'll tell you, here at my house, we have snow and a little bit of sleet mixed in, and we were really heavy snow for a minute, but sometimes during these heavy precipitation rates, you will kind of waffle back and forth between a couple of different precip types. Cold air continues to slowly, and I mean ever so slowly, win out. You can see the southeastern part of Franklin County, very heavy sleet. I would almost be venturing to say that we are seeing sleet rates of at least a quarter to a half of an inch per hour. We're going to continue to keep things posted, and we'll keep you posted. I'm going to take the crawler down for just a little bit here. We have seen so many changes in the snow emergency levels this afternoon, and it would be best for the time being just to kind of take that off there for the time being. So let me move that out of the way for you, and we'll kind of leave it at this. So this is where the things stand right now. I will show you the map on the levels here in just a second, but this is the Columbus metropolitan area. 1 to 2 inches of sleet. And now we're throwing in some snow on top of that, very heavy snow at times, I may add. As we kind of zoom things out just a little bit, we'll take you down to the south. Very heavy plain rain across Lawrence and Gallia, Meigs, and Washington counties. That freezing rain line is finally starting to move, but it's not moving very quickly. Very heavy freezing rain in Brown County, Adams County, portions of Ross, Hocking, Pickaway, Fairfield, Perry. All these areas seeing some heavy rain. In fact, there was a report of flooding in Morgan County not too long ago, and yet they're seeing freezing rain. So some substantial reports and substantial precipitation, and now that it's 5:30 p.m., we're hitting that rush hour commute, and we thought it would be best to kind of come on and do an extended live video with you to kind of show you the conditions that we are seeing across the area. And Brant, power outage numbers continue to escalate this evening. We're right about 55,000 customers without power. Even now, northern Ohio, Sandusky and Seneca seeing some significant outages. I'll pull up the map in a second, but Brant, I continue to expect these numbers to rise as we go through the rest of the evening.
Absolutely, and if you watched our live stream earlier, we talked about, hold on, I gotta turn something off here. We talked about the risk for power outages would increase later on this evening, and that's mainly due to the fact that behind this system, it's going to pack a punch with the wind. The wind is going to be a big factor. Nick, you can go into specifics with specific wind gusts. I don't know if we have a chart or a map we can pull up to try to give people an idea of what to expect, but it's not going to take much down south of 70, where the sleet and freezing rain has fallen. Nick, you got your Facebook up?
Yeah, I just changed it.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Okay,
nope, you're good.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was
Yep.
what we were doing.
Nope, you're good.
So as you see the map right now, the area is mainly isolated south of 70, where we've received that freezing rain and sleet for the most part today. My house we've still got sleet. That's all we've had today. We started off with some freezing rain, and now we transitioned to sleet, and we've been stuck there for almost 6 hours. So I can tell you, Nick, for sure that outside my door right now, the power lines are coated in that thick layer of ice from that freezing rain earlier, and that's likewise across much of the southern part of the state, south of 70. And when that extra weight, when that wind comes in, it's not going to take much to start knocking down some tree limbs, start knocking down some, knock them onto power lines, start knocking power poles down, and not to mention any accidents that happen tonight. If we advise you to try to be out, or to try not to be out on the road at all tonight for any reason. This is just one of those days that you cook up whatever you can find in the house, and hopefully you've had a couple of days to prepare. Hopefully you still got power. Turn on a movie for the kids and just kind of hunker down in your house and try not to go out. As that wind comes in on the backside, it's going to start knocking down some tree branches. It's going to knock out some power for a lot of us, and it's also going to cause. We've already seen in some spots tree branches covering roadways and creating a lot of traffic hazards.
Yeah, I've got the level map now pulled up, and this has been ever changing. I was trying to get Tyler Phillips to join us to give us an update from his part of Ross County because it's kind of unique, but he is manning the desk on the levels right now, checking in with everybody, and as they're coming in, you're seeing them update on the map. Now, I just want to point out that Warren County, Shelby County, Van Wert County, they don't issue levels, but one would obviously kind of assume that the roads are in pretty terrible condition in those locations here this afternoon. So if you guys have any updates in the comment section, you're more than welcome to help us out if you want. Power's out in Adams County in West Union, Ohio. I'm not surprised by that. In fact, we have some pretty substantial power outages even now starting to grow in the southwestern corner of the state. But the three hardest counties that seem to be getting hit right now are Hocking, Perry, and Morgan, with Perry approaching 40% of the county without power. Hocking and Morgan County are over 50%. We're very close to that, and they continue
those numbers are always going to go up.
Yes.
Only going to go up.
Yep, they will continue to only go up from here through the rest of the evening hours. So, and again, we're going to be with you guys here for a little while. We are seeing some very bad conditions. We want you guys to keep us posted on what you're seeing. We know people kind of come and go. I'm sharing this around to about as many different places as I possibly can. So be sure you're doing the same so that we can get everybody some updates. Courtney from Hocking County, the power's out. We're so sorry to hear that. Please make sure that you're keeping your devices charged. Obviously, when the power goes out, you got to have ways to get information. So we appreciate you joining. But again, please do your best to try to conserve power on your devices. Make sure your battery banks are charged. And this is kind of where we're stuck with right now. So the counties that are on a level 3, as of 5:33, about a minute ago, and again, these are ever changing, so just kind of bear with us. We have Ross County down in southern Ohio, and then you have Putnam, Hancock, Hardin, Ottawa, Sandusky, Erie, Seneca, Huron, Richland, Crawford, Marion, Morrow, and Wyandotte counties are all under a level 3 snow emergency at this time. So those counties are experiencing the worst conditions, and Brant folks are subject to being arrested if they are out on the roads in those counties right now, and Mercer County is set to go to a level 3 at 7 o'clock.
Yes, and if you are seen on the road, the cops do have the authority to pull you over, without reason, because the reason is that you're out and it's causing not only a traffic hazard to you, but it's also dangerous to others out on the roadway as well. So if you're under that level 3, you want to you just want to stay off the roads. And frankly, Nick, anybody under a level 2, you should stay off the roads, because level 2, some sheriffs don't like to issue level 3s and ban people from traveling. It's just, again, the Ohio County level system is solely based off of what each individual sheriff, there's 88 sheriffs in Ohio, what each of them feel for their county and what they want to do. So as you mentioned earlier, some don't issue levels at all. Some are against issuing level 3s. Strict, for banning all traffic. It's just based on each sheriff himself or herself, and so yeah, I mean, all across the board, you are subject to arrest under those level 3s, and level 2s. It's recommended that you don't travel out unless it's absolutely necessary. So general rule of thumb for today, and for overnight tonight, until the storm stops and those crews can start to get out and try to get caught up from some of this. Just stay off the roads if you can.
Yes, absolutely. And you still see a couple level 1s kind of filtered in there. We do expect those to continue to increase here very soon. Again, Mercer County set to go to a level 3 at 7 o'clock. I see several comments about Mercer County is actively on a level 3. That is not true. They are going at 7 o'clock to a level 3. Now, again, there's obviously some kind of strategic plan behind that. So, but again, Mercer County set to go to level 3 at 7 o'clock this evening. Southwestern Ohio, obviously also seeing some pretty bad ice conditions. So while some of these levels, the title brand to snow emergency, for some folks, it's because of ice, and that's pretty similar to your situation there in Pickaway County. You're on a level 2, but it's due to ice and not necessarily snow. And I think that's important to remember that, some folks think, it's a snow emergency. Well, where's the snow? Not necessarily. In some of the wording of some of those levels, Brant, it does mention that there's some ice that can be included.
Yeah, and if you could pull up the levels real quick.
They've actually been up. Yep, they're up.
Not the levels, the definitions.
If
you can pull up the definitions. We'll run through the list of all the definition levels, because in that wording, it does say that the roads may be icy with or without blowing and drifting snow. So, I know Ross County, the southeast portion of the county, has received mostly rain all day. And the northwest part of the county is where that sleet and freezing rain kind of are making roads very treacherous. So not all of Ross County is experiencing those freezing rain conditions most of the day. I know Tyler Phillips, he is in southeastern Ross County, and he has received only rain today so far. And I think he said he was maybe switching over just a few minutes ago. But the northern and northeastern Ross County, that's where that level 3. The whole county is under a level 3, but that's where the roads are the worst.
Absolutely.
So you just pulled it up.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
Here's the snow emergency classification. So when we talk about snow emergencies, it's not our issuance. Again, it's the sheriffs. It's up to them to decide what level they're under. If they should issue a level 1, roadways are hazardous with blowing and drifting snow, and the roads may also be icy. So there's where you kind of factor in that ice part. So we got both factors. We got blowing and drifting snow to the north here, and then we've got the ice and snow to deal with in central and southern Ohio. Under that level, motorists are urged to drive very cautiously. And under a level 2, if you looked at the map just a second ago, we do have the majority of the map under a level 2. Under that condition, roadways are hazardous with blowing and drifting snow, and they may also be very icy, which is as fitting for Ross County. I know the northern part is in pretty bad shape. Only those who feel it is necessary to drive should be out on the roads, and you should contact your employer if you should report to work. Motorists should use extreme caution. And then we jump down to level 3, which is the highest level, where all roads are closed to non-emergency personnel. So we do have a handful of those on the map too, Nick, and it takes a pretty big storm to start popping up level 3s everywhere. But unfortunately, today we're dealing with that storm. So under level 3, all roadways are closed to non-emergency personnel. No one should be driving during these conditions unless it is absolutely necessary to travel or a personal emergency exists. All employees should contact their employer to see if they should report to work. And those traveling on the roads are subject to arrest. As Nick mentioned earlier, you are subject to arrest and a stop if you are on the roads. The cop or the police officer may ask you, what are you doing out here? And, it's advised for you to go home or what the case may be. But definitely a very, very rough night out there for travel, especially people who went into work earlier and now have to worry about coming home at the end of the night. So it is, if there's any way for you to stay off the roads, we recommend doing that tonight, as it's treacherous anywhere you look in the state.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see some questions. Will certain counties go to a certain level? That's not our prediction. That is not something that's our business in predicting, because that's just not for us. We don't do that as of right now. We do check in with the sheriff's offices every once in a while, but the goal here is to keep you informed of the information that we have at hand, and this is what we have. So, and you've seen a couple other counties in Indiana have changed statuses as well. Just as a reminder for those of you watching on Ohio News and Weather, we cover some eastern Indiana counties. It's primarily for severe weather purposes, but for winter weather, it's also very important. So this is how things are continuing to trend right now. We are continuing to see some very dangerous road conditions, and I don't see these changing anytime soon. And again, some counties in Ohio do not issue at all. I will tell you that Belmont, Monroe, and Washington, and the rest of Southern Ohio will. I know Claremont County does, but I know I can, based on what we've seen, Van Wert, Shelby, and Warren, and I know several northeastern Ohio counties do not issue levels at this particular point in time. So we're going to continue to watch the conditions very closely. Now, speaking of how things look currently, let's switch over to Ogo so we can show you how some of these conditions are out there this evening, because they are not in very good shape whatsoever. So give me a second. We're going to try to zoom in the page zoom, and maybe we can try to get the cameras to come up a little bit bigger. Again, this is a free app that you can download at any time from Ogo. You're on your mobile app, as you can see there across the top. This is all public information, and this is a look right now at the southwest side of Columbus where we've had some snow. Yeah, go ahead, Brent.
They've also got a website.
Yes, and there's also
so
website-based.
You can go to your browser and just type in ogo.org?
Ogo.com, yep.
Ogo.com, yep.
Yep, so again, folks, this is the way things look in Columbus right now. We'll bounce around. Okay, I said we're going to be here for a little while because I want to make sure we're getting as many people updates as possible here this evening, as I'm also checking Twitter for some updated levels and things of that nature. It looks like now Warren County has went to a level 1, and I believe that's going to be Warren County, Ohio. Let me take a look at something here. No. Okay, that's interesting.
Warren doesn't issue.
Well, there's a sheriff out of Illinois that has issued a level 1, it looks like, for Warren County, but they tagged all the Ohio TV stations in it, so that's interesting. We'll look to confirm that, but regardless, back to the current conditions here. You can see in Columbus some of the cameras are still frozen over. We had some freezing rain this morning. We've then now changed over to sleet and snow, and we should continue to transition to snow here very soon. Hocking County just now went to a level 3 snow emergency, so we'll go back to the map in just a second, and I expect more level 3s to be coming in. Again, we're going to stay with you here with you a little while because we feel it's very important that you have all the latest information, and this is what we feel is best to share with you. As you can see, folks that are out are moving very slowly. Franklin County is currently under a level 2. You can barely see the lanes here on the southwest side of Columbus and Brant. Road crews have had, especially in these areas that have had ice and this mixed precipitation, it's hard for crews to keep up because ice is hard as itself, to clear out. I'll attest to that because I went out and cleared all the sleet off my driveway before. The snow got really mixed in with it and makes it really heavy, but cars have been driving over the sleet, and so they're packing it down, and now you're throwing snow on top of that.
Yep.
So it's going to be very tough for these road crews. And of course we also have a current shortage of drivers across the state as well. Not going to get political with that, but that needs to be brought up as well, as crews are going to struggle, whether it's a county, state, township, municipality, across the board. Folks are going to struggle to keep up with the current conditions that we have and what's going to be going on out there, Brant.
Yes, and we mentioned that last night when we had Williams County in northwest Ohio under a level 3, and we started seeing some snow levels pop up in northwest Ohio as the snow was falling. Now, if you remember last night, most of us were under rain, and as I look outside once again, it's definitely a different story today. I know the road outside my house, I'm kind of in a rural area, so it's they're bad. There's no other way to put it. It is very bad out there. The highways, I know 270 around Columbus. That was pretty bad earlier, Nick, as you were showing some of those Ogo cameras too. That it's a mess. Really anywhere you go. We've got the full package today, as I like to call it. Power outages, snow emergencies. We got the ice, sleet, so anything you can think of to deal with winter weather we have. And there's no other way to put it. We've been pressing for preparation for days of this storm, and I hope and pray everybody listened because this is the real deal now. There might be a little change in the forecast here and there, but it's definitely a storm that I personally will remember for a while, Nick.
Yeah, let's take you down to Hocking County. A level 3 snow emergency was just issued here, so let me get this camera pulled up. And Brant, this is the Logan camera at the roundabout. We've been checking this one off and on throughout the day, and we still are seeing in the background, you can see it in the landscape, there is a significant amount of ice on the trees. And now even you can see the trees that are closer to the camera. That's how you know, Brant, that we're seeing significant icing. When you can see, usually off in the distance, if it's a light ice, you can kind of tell. But now we're getting the trees that are closer to the camera starting to significantly ice up. The good news is, at least at this area, there is power, but most of Hocking County is starting to lose power here gradually. And but it is kind of pretty off in the distance to see that, Brant. But obviously we know, and I'll tell you, the wind is picked up here in Columbus, so it's just a matter of time before we have wind issues down here into Hocking County. We're seeing power outages now without a ton of wind. I can only imagine what it's going to look like here shortly when we start to see the wind pick up and we see further damage.
Yep, and we've also been talking about that for all of our lives today. We've done quite a bit of them, Nick. I think this is maybe our fourth or fifth one since noon. We also talked about the wind on the backside of this system, how it's going to, and we just mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. When that wind comes in, it's not going to take much to start knocking down tree limbs onto power lines and knocking power lines over, icing over the roads even more than they are now. So it's going to be it's going to be very treacherous. And Nick, I know you said that wind is picked up. The wind is definitely picked up here too. The trees were not moving that much, but now they are kind of swaying with the wind as the cold front continues to push through. And I was trying to get the radar up again. I'm having power issues, like a lot of us down here. It's kind of going on and off here, but the internet's not really working with me here.
Yeah, it's understandable. We're going to be having some issues with that. Now, what you got looking at here right now is a camera out of Lima, I-75 at US 30. Wanted to kind of show some different perspectives across the area, and I just wanted to share with you that here in Lima, right now it is all snow. It's very heavy snow. There's a significant amount falling. I know we got a lot of folks probably watching from the Northwest Ohio area. We're going around from from different parts of the state to the other, so just kind of bear with us here. But conditions out here are very bad, as you can see here. You can see one lane in each direction. Now, Allen County, Ohio, you're on a level 2 snow emergency. I know there's been some questions too. Is Lima going to go to a level 3? Again, we don't know. Based on what history has told us, I think that's pretty unlikely for different reasons that I'm not going to discuss at this time. But we're watching things very closely, and we will continue to monitor conditions as things warrant here this afternoon. But again, it's worth mentioning that regardless if you're on a level, just stay home tonight. If you have extra PTO time, extra vacation time, or anything of that nature, just stay home tonight if you possibly can. It's going to be better for you if you do that. So that's the way that the current conditions look in Lima. And every once in a while, you're going to see these cameras kind of go in and out, as we have a lot of people trying to access them, and this is great. And we want you guys to be able to access them too. So let's take you out to Lorain County. Brant, here's a look at the Ohio Turnpike, I-480 at I-80. This is near whiteout conditions. Based on the way this camera looks, not much traffic out there. Lorain County is on a level 2 snow emergency at this time. Conditions up here don't look very good. I don't know if you can see that on your screen there, but visibility looks very poor up in northern Ohio, where it's been all snow all day.
Wow. Yeah, and they had snow yesterday too, and we did see those conditions yesterday. So this is day 2 of seeing those conditions. And remember, Nick, we want to reiterate that we also have a travel ban still in effect that goes until tomorrow morning.
I completely forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
We also have a travel ban for, I think it was for commercial vehicles, any large vehicles, because road crews are just having a hard time keeping up. And if any of you have ever driven a tractor trailer, it is much more difficult to control than a car, because you don't have a lot of control with it with the trailer. So that travel ban's in effect until tomorrow morning, I believe, and this is why you're seeing the conditions out there. That's exactly why that travel ban was issued.
Yeah, it is. I'm touching base real quick with a couple of different things here. But yeah, so that's a look at Lorain County again, and that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes the cameras will kind of bounce in. Now let's check in on Mansfield, Richland County, if I can get this to pull up here in a second. Maybe we'll try Ashland. I'll just keep kind of bouncing around until one of these come up. There we go. I-71 at US 30. This is Richland County, level 3. And again, you can barely see one lane, and that's going to be looking with the... that would be your tail lights are heading southbound. But of course, there's nobody out right now. So that's good to see. Again, another very poor visibility. I'll check radar here in a second, Brant, but that's the second camera there in Northeast Ohio that we've come across where visibility is very poor. There's no reason for folks to be out tonight whatsoever.
No, and I think that's just. But I know we sound like a broken record to a lot of people, but whoever's watching this broadcast for the whole duration, I know we sound like a broken record, but we can't stress it enough how important it is for, if you have any way of staying off the roads tonight, just find that way, because it could save your life and potentially save a life of another person.
Absolutely, and I want to thanks Julie for commenting the website for the OGO cameras. That is absolutely fantastic. I see some people were asking. So this is how you can go online. Again, it could be a little slow because there's so many people accessing these cameras this evening. But this is the way that things look right now. Okay, we're going on 6 o'clock. We'll probably wrap up sometime shortly after. I wanted to do
Nick,
yeah, go ahead, Brant.
Can you pull up? Are you still at the traffic cameras?
Yeah.
Can you pull up the camera just west of the 70-75 interchange at Dayton International Airport?
Yes. You said just west of there?
Yeah. It is almost near whiteout conditions.
Is that one labeled 70 at Dayton International Airport Access Road?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, there you go. It's up.
Yeah, you can kind of see that is. I know me and Nick actually go. you wanna go west or just the camera just west of that.
Oh, okay.
Is actually iced over at I-70 and Taywood Road.
Yes.
Nick, I know me and you have traveled 70 quite often for our trips out to Indianapolis and for other occasions, personal occasions, but it does not look like that, and it does not look like that every day. You can barely see the road at that point, honestly, and thankfully I don't see a lot of people out. Again, that camera is iced over, as we were seeing sleet fall for a good portion of the day, and now we seem to switch over to some snow. But again, it's treacherous, really, anywhere you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Brant, I'm going to go back over to the travel status, as we've had obviously we've seen Hocking County go to a level 3. I'm actually checking right. Okay, Pike is now a level 2. If you want to send that to Tyler to let him know. If he hasn't already. So I guess Pike has just went to level 2, so you'll see that update on the screen here as soon as we get that flipped over. I just got that in. Okay, and now it looks like, let's see. No, I'm not going to. I'm still waiting to even confirm Scioto County too, because I had seen some things there earlier, but I've not seen anything from their EMA. If anybody's in Scioto County and has a source for us. For a level 2 snow emergency. Local media in Columbus has been reporting it. We've not been able to confirm it single-handedly, so I feel at this time if anybody in Scioto County can give us an update, that would be appreciated at this point in time. Let's see. Okay, we're just checking a couple different things here. And Brain, here's the thing, the situation is very fluid. And we certainly expect that we're not done yet. We're nowhere near done with the precipitation.
No, we mentioned earlier that we have it was around noontime that we had for some of us on the western side of things, we had 12 hours left, and on the eastern side, we had about 18 hours left. So we have plenty of time to go. I know personally, I have been receiving several comments from family members and friends about this is, commenting that this is all the storm is. I was expecting worse. Well, we haven't seen all of it, and it is a multi-day event, as we stressed before. Some of us began seeing it yesterday and then transition over to some sleet today, and we're eventually going to end Friday morning. So that is almost 2.5 days worth of storm activity. And what we were forecasting is going to take place after all after all 2.5 days are complete. So tomorrow morning, you'll see the full extent of it, Nick, as you can probably attest to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We got some heavy snow here. Correlation coefficient would say we're mixed with sleet, but I'd say we are pretty much all snow at this point. I know that correlation coefficient product, sometimes the further away you get from the radar site, it can sometimes have a bit of a challenge picking up on the precip type, but nevertheless, we are still seeing some pretty good snow here on the southwest side of Columbus, and temperatures are in the mid-20s. I've taken it back to radar right now. You can see how, again, just the line is not moving very much. You can see some of the reports coming in here. Lima, you were at 6 inches. Van Wert, 7 inches. Dayton, just to the north of there, about 4.5. Miami County, you're at 6 inches. And this is going to continue to be a pretty dangerous situation out there for the next little while. So I've been getting several questions about, is Franklin County on a level 3? I do not see that. I'm actually getting several private messages about that, and certainly not seeing anything on Franklin County. They're still on a level 2, and I would expect that to kind of stay that way for a little while longer. So outside of that, at this point, I don't have any other significant updates. We checked power outages again for you real quick. We've crossed now 56,000, and we've seen a little bit of a spike in east central Ohio at this point. So we'll take you over to the power outages. Hocking County, 9,200 out of 17,000 are without power, so that's over 50% at this point. Morgan County, almost right on the nose at 50%, a little over 4,000 out of 8,700. Now we're seeing Harrison and Jefferson County with some power outages picking up, along with Belmont County. And you can, and Brain, it's kind of nice on this map. You can see almost exactly where the ice problems have been because of how the map is color coded, and everybody else, the outages are pretty sporadic in general. This was updated actually about 15 minutes ago. We should be able to get a new update now here in just a couple of minutes, and I would be surprised, Brent, we approach 60 or 70,000 here shortly.
Oh, I think we'll go above that, honestly. So right where that strip is, where you can see that power outage, if you kind of draw like two lines in between there, you can kind of see, as Nick said, where we've had. I'm actually in that area, and I know Tyler is too, where we've seen that freezing rain and sleet most of the day. And I know we also have one of our forecasters, Owen Fritz. He is up in Sandusky County, where a level 3 is in place. And he has also lost power. So, and I think I'm taking a minute to catch up here on my end again. Okay, there we go. Now it's up. I guess those power outages up in northern Ohio dropped off. But as you can see, right where that strip is, if you draw a line across the top of that area and the bottom, you can kind of make out where we have seen, as Nick said, the sleet and ice most of the day, and where we're dealing with the most power outages. Now again, this map, as we're going to show you throughout the night, will light up and it'll be very colorful. We're afraid, and
yes,
we're going to be watching it most of the day.
Yeah, Delaware County just now went to a level 3 as well, so if you want to message that to Tyler and let him know that, he'll get that updated for us, and we'll see that come up on the map here in just a second. I just switched it back over so that the moment that we see Delaware updated, you will see that updated on the screen here for you. So again, Delaware County level 3 at this point, and I think that's again just a sign of things to come here this evening. If you're just now joining us, it is the top of the hour here, 6 o'clock. I'm Nick Dunn alongside Brant Warren. Very poor travel conditions across the majority of the Buckeye State here this evening, and that's going to continue to be a problem. Again, several counties are on level 2 and level 3 snow emergencies across the Buckeye State, and in Indiana, still several counties under a travel watch or travel warning at this point in time. But otherwise, not much out there, Brant, that's level 1 for at least the counties that do issue. We could still see a few more of those yet this evening either. Tuscarawas County does not issue levels. Trumbull County does not. Cuyahoga, Lake Geauga, Ashtabula, they do not. But it would be nice if everybody did to a point so that this map would be a little bit more uniform. But this is kind of where things stand at this point. So, and in terms of why counties are waiting until 7 p.m., that's a great question. I'm not sure. Again, there's some strategic plan behind that.
So here's a report I want to pass along. Two separate reports in Vinton County of flooding. One in southern Vinton County, all lanes are closed on State Route 349 south of State Route 160 due to flooding. So we're dealing with some flooding issues in the southeast portion of the state. That's why we have a flood warning and a flood watch in effect, as you heard us mention earlier. And also from the Department of Highways, we also have all lanes are closed on State Route 161 between State Route 32 and State Route 324 due to flooding in southern Vinton County. And one just coming into Athens, all lanes are closed on State Route 681 east of State Route 356 to Hill Avenue due to flooding. So that is west of Athens. So Nick, I don't know how else to say it, but we've got the full bag of weather here today.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'll pull up some alert maps here in just a second. Again, if you're just now joining us, Hocking and Delaware counties in Ohio are now on a level 3 snow emergency. That means roads are closed to basically everybody except emergency personnel and snowplows. So you really should be staying home and just kind of waiting this thing out until things kind of get a little bit better here in just a little while. So that's kind of the way things shape up at this particular point in time. Again, in terms of do we know what counties are going to do? Not exactly. Let's see what else here. Mercer County, okay, an update. They're going to go to level 3 at 7 o'clock, and then they will reevaluate again at 7 a.m. So that's kind of where things stand at this point. Those of you passing along closings and other information in the comments, that's great. Again, some of us that are watching this evening have no power in southern Ohio. So we're not going to stay out too much long because we don't want to drain their batteries, obviously, but this certainly is a concern. If you have any information, help each other out. Let's be a team, not just for us as a team helping you, but all of you viewers as a team helping us and helping each other. It's going to be very important to do that. So that's kind of where things stand at this time. We'll take you back to radar now. That's Delaware County. You saw that update there on the screen live to a level 3. We'll take you over now back to radar, and I will tell you, those of you in Columbus, I'm going to have to step outside once we're done here and see.
I'll actually step outside right now, look out my window, and Nick, I think for the first time today, we might be mixing with just a few flakes of snow.
Yeah, this transition is taking quite some time.
There are branches. There are branches all over the road and all over the yard out here. So definitely going to continue to see that as the wind is starting to rock those trees around. There's going to be branches, big and small, littered all over the place. On the roadways, so if you're driving, that causes a hazard. So that's another reason why we don't want you to be on the road. And also, there is a lot of reports of flooding coming in Athens County. So another one, all lanes are closed on State Route 56 eastbound, State Route 278, and are due to flooding. And all lanes in eastern, and I'm sure Ken is all over this one. 2 more just popped in here. All lanes are closed on State Route 550 east of State Route 590 to Franklin Street due to flooding. So there is starting to be a big concern, as we had originally thought we would have saw southeastern Ohio start to transition over to some snow. It looks like it's sticking with the rain as that snow, sleet, freezing rain line is kind of stalled, it looks like. So definitely some flooding concerns that I'm sure Ken McNatt over on Mid-Ohio Valley Weather Update is aware of this, as reports are flooding in here of roads being closed due to flooding.
Yeah, how about that? Flooding in about flooding. Something just to try to make things...
Flooding in about flooding, yep.
Yeah, just kind of lighten up the mood a little bit. Last thing I want to kind of touch base on is our current active alerts, and we're going to touch on the wintry side first. And then I'll pull up the flooding side, because the flooding side's a mess. We actually had to break it up into separate maps, because, I don't want to give anybody I don't want anybody to have a headache just from looking at the maps. But anyway, Brant, we still have ice storm warnings in southern Ohio. I don't see this changing this evening. I would think if we were going to see an expansion, we would have seen it by now, unless trends change towards late evening. But several counties in southern Ohio still under an ice storm warning.
Yep, and that remains in effect until, I believe it's tomorrow morning, correct?
I believe till 7 a.m. Friday morning, yep.
Yep, so we're continuing to deal with the ice storm warnings, the flood watches, the winter storm warnings, and some of our West Virginia counties, we also have a winter weather advisory. So we have a mixed bag of alerts out there today, but the ice storm warning is where we are most concerned about power outages and trees being destroyed. Branches being in roads, big or small. I've seen pictures coming out of Amanda, which is it's kind of on the Franklin or Fairfield and Pickaway County line area, where a whole side of a tree has been sheared off by the ice. Of course, it looked like it was a young tree, so it might not have been as sturdy as some of the trees, but again, that just speaks to the volume, the extent of some of the conditions we're seeing around the state today.
Absolutely. And lastly, here's the flood map, and this is why I didn't want to share this together at the same time, because there is just a plethora and that's probably the best way to describe it, a plethora of flood warnings and watches and advisories. So if you're in southeast Ohio or in West Virginia, I know it's not raining or precipitating wintry-wise, just stay off the roads. Just stay indoors. That is a mess of a map there, Brant, and I don't see water receding anytime soon. In some of these areas, there's still very heavy rain falling this evening.
No, and we still have, it's also, and I think we should mention that there's also, as this rain has been falling, it's not only the rain accumulating in low-lying areas and in creeks, but you're also dealing with, we've had two considerable sized storms go through this area over the past couple weeks, and we've got that melting snow that's adding to the runoff and the water level here. So it may be, only a little bit of rain in your area, but that snow melting where the temperatures have been consistently above freezing in this area is causing that runoff. So those two issues combined are are creating a big headache for flood-prone areas.
Yeah, so I'll get these alert maps posted here shortly as soon as some of these levels calm down. But folks, we've been on the air about 40 minutes now. I'm going to wrap this video up for the time being. We'll come back on after a bit. But due to the significant amount of changing conditions, I wanted to just come on for a while. Here's a latest look at the snow emergency map. It is very orange and very red, and I expect that to continue to fill in this evening. Seeing some reports of branches falling in the Lancaster area. Not surprised by that whatsoever. I'm going to give one last check of power outages. Still at 56,000. I think that number will go up. And I see some comments there about Ashland County. Guys, if you have updated levels for us, please, if you can, send a picture or a comment with an attachment for us. We don't mind calling and verifying if we have to, but the extra information from you would help us. We love helping you. We would appreciate if you could help us out as well. So that's where things stand at this time. So we'll get the updated alerts and levels put out there shortly. So for Brant Warren, I'm forecaster Nick Dunn reporting. Stay tuned for updates right here on Facebook through the evening time. Stay home. You have no reason to be out tonight, whether you're seeing flooding or ice or snow, blowing snow, whatever the case may be. Some of the drifts tonight in northwest Ohio, northern Indiana are being measured in feet. You have no reason to be out tonight. Just stay home and get through this. If you have extra time off tomorrow, take it, because you're going to probably want to use it as well. So just make it an extended weekend at this particular point in time.
Please take that statement seriously. We haven't said it for 40 times in 40 minutes. If we mean business. So
absolutely,
it's very dangerous out there.
Absolutely. So with that, guys, we're going to wrap up things for now. We'll come back live here after a bit with another update for you. For Brant Warren, I'm forecaster Nick Dunn reporting. Stay safe, stay home, and keep it tuned to us on Facebook.